no matter which part of the world we belong to, no matter who we are, as children, we all have amazing dreams. You know, we all want to make our dreams come true. But what happens when we grow up is that we have so many dreams, but we are not able to accomplish it for some reason or the other. But then there are many personalities who are actually able to accomplish this dream. And I was always curious to know what exactly these personalities have, or what principles did they practice, or what kind of qualities these people actually had that helped them achieve their dream. So in order to actually discover this, as you mentioned, I spent over 6 years creating a movie called Carve Your Destiny. And for this, I interviewed some of the most famous achievers. For example, Kiran Bedi, Shiv Khera, L.K. Advani, and there were so many other international achievers as well. And he mentioned that the movie has been seen by 3.5 lakh people online, but now it's close to almost about 5 lakh people. That many people have seen the movie online. Now, obviously, I'm not able to show the movie to you because the movie itself is too long. But we can certainly, after that, if you wish, you can either get the DVDs of the movie or you can watch it online. After the talk, I'll tell you how you can watch the movie. So, the first time I failed, as the gentleman mentioned over here, was when I actually came up with the idea to make this film. I came up with the idea of actually interviewing 18 famous achievers and all that people, all over India and all over the world. And I basically wanted, if we can actually make this kind of film, it is going to actually be very revolutionary. It was actually for a competition. But the college thought that the idea that we've come up with, totally infeasible, not practical, because even with our resources, we cannot make this film. इनका contacts कौन चलाएगा, पैसा कौन लगाएगा and all that stuff. They had a million reasons to tell me why this idea was not practical. But then for some reason something kept telling me that I should keep going on. And I decided that I should make this film, because if I am able to make this film, then it would actually be a very real life example of how somebody had a dream and was able to accomplish the dream, no matter how big or small the dream was. And I can actually show on film how the dream was accomplished. So I said, okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to make this film. So what happened was that people around me, they started laughing at me. They said, okay, you're 22-year-old. The college said they can't make the movie. They said they have no money, they have no contacts. And you think you have the contacts, you have the money, you can actually go and make this film. They actually started laughing at me, and they were actually ridiculing me a lot. That why would all these famous people give you time? Why? They're not going to give you any time. Like I said, this is criticism. That people keep telling you without things that, okay, they give you all these reasons why you cannot accomplish your goal. But objectively, I realized that, this is something that is impossible according to them, but it is not impossible according to the laws of nature. इसने लिखा है impossible कि भी कोई बच्चा जाकर के अगर without contacts interviews ले ले, it is not impossible. It's difficult. It is difficult. It is not impossible. So why should I listen to them? So I decided to make this film on my own. I approached a lot of famous people, and every time I called up the secretaries of these people, they used to ask me, what media house do you belong to? What company do you belong to? And every time I told them that I was a student, they just kept refusing again and again and again. So it was very difficult indeed. In fact, I interviewed around 18 people, but I was rejected by close to around 300 other people. And these are the people, very famous people. I won't take their names, but some of the most famous people also rejected me. But then there were certain other people who also said yes. So if you go through enough people who don't believe in you, eventually you will find someone who does believe in you. For me, this process took me about almost close to 4 years. But it did happen, and it had a lot of cancelled appointments. I remember one time I actually had to go to UK all the way, and my father was sick at that time. And the day I reached, the interview was cancelled for me. So I spent all that time, and I actually was, my father said that you should go, you might not get this opportunity again. But I traveled all this time, and I spent a lot of money. And the day I reached, the interview was cancelled for good, and they did not give me another interview. And all of this story is actually in the film. So if you want to watch the film later, then I'll tell you how to do it. So, like I said, it took a lot of time. So it took 4 years, but eventually I was able to interview a lot of people. Then once I actually made this. You know, you have to realize the fact that I was somebody from a business, you know, from a finance background. I had no background in filmmaking. So it was a very big challenge to how to, okay, I have done all these interviews, I have made all these interviews, how do I actually make it something that is actually interesting to people? So people started telling me, you know, what you should do is you should make a storyline. So I spent about 6 to 7 months writing a script. I had no filmmaking background. I spent about 7 to 8 months writing a script. And in the end, the person who actually promised to produce the reenactments, he backed out at the last minute. So I spent about 7-8 months writing the script only for that person to back out at the end. So I realized I had no option. So what I did was I decided to jump to this process. I went back, I learned an advanced video editing software on my own, and I decided that okay, I'm not going to use reenactments, I'm going to make a documentary on the way I feel that should be right. So I spent about 7 or 8 months more making a rough cut of the movie. You know, rough cut of the movie is basically like when you write a book. The first draft is very rough. The rough cut is basically like the first draft of a film. In filmmaking, we call the rough cut. Basically, it's like the first draft of a book, right? So once I made the rough cut, I invited a lot of people to critically evaluate the movie. It's called a test screening process where you invite, it's done in Hollywood a lot, it's also done these days in India. We invite groups of people to come and watch the movie. So at this point I thought that okay, I spent more than 5 years and I'm sure people will definitely love it. And at that point, most people were totally bored with this movie. They don't like it at all, they didn't like it at all. So at that time I actually felt like giving up. You know, you have to realize that as somebody who spent close to 5 years on a project, and only for people to say, we don't like this, it's totally boring. It was really, I really felt like giving up. I want to tell you a story. There's a story of a general, you know. He once had a small army and he actually wanted to conquer an island. So he came with the ships and he wanted to conquer the island. Once he actually reached the island, he realized that he was vastly outnumbered and most probably his army is going to be defeated. So he knew that, you know, this is a very tough case, most probably we are going to lose. But what he did was he gave his troops a very motivating speech, like you see every time in the movies, you know, people give motivating speeches and they manage and they beat the bigger army. So he gave a very motivating speech and they were all very pumped up. But after that he also did one more thing. He burnt the ships, he burnt the boats that they actually came in. So now what happened? There was absolutely no way for these people to run away if they thought they were losing. They had to either fight and win or die. They had no other option. And guess what? They won. Same, I mean, for me, I had no choice. I was left with no choice. What do I do by giving up on 5 years of work? Do I go and look like a loser? No, I knew that if I make something like this, it is something that is a worthy goal for me. And regardless of the kind of money it makes, it's not important. If I'm actually able to do this, if this is able to inspire people on the screen, if this is able to inspire a lot of people who are down on their life, and it gives them that inspiration for the moment that they can actually go and be motivated with their lives, this is all going to be worth it. So I decided to incorporate all the critical feedback. I went back, made the changes, spent about 3 months in that. Then I showed the audiences again. And each time the feedback kept improving. So almost after 6 years, I spent about 3 or 4 months, this process I repeated 3 or 4 times. Each time the feedback kept repeating. Each time the feedback kept improving. So what happened was, eventually I came out with a movie in 2014. It's been released online. It's been viewed by almost close to 5 lakh people, and if you go, it's received almost positive reviews, almost unanimously positive reviews. And each time you see the comment over there, it's always about how people they're so inspired after watching the movie. So for me, that effort itself was worth it. And the story I told you is basically a culmination of my journey of 6 years of failures, right? It's a journey of 6 years of failures, but eventually through that journey you're able to achieve something. Something, if not something for yourself and something for people around you. So what's my point? My point is that no matter what you do, your success, especially for the young people over here, your success will be built upon your failures. You're going to be knocked down, you're going to start with really great enthusiasm, you're going to be knocked down, you're going to get up, then you're going to be knocked down again, you're going to celebrate small accomplishments, and this process is going to keep going on again and again and again. You're going to accomplish things, you're going to be knocked down, you're going to be depressed. But guess what? If what you're going after is something that truly makes you happy and it truly is a worthy goal, then all of it is actually going to be worth it. Society drills into us over and over again that we are average, average beings, destined for average lives and destined to die average. That is just not true. The seeds of greatness lie in all of us. If we were not born for greater things, if we were not meant for greater things, we would not have been born as humans. So don't waste your life with meaningless repetition. Make your life worth living. Finally, I want to say one last thing is that some people think that it is a waste of time if you follow your worthy goal, but I believe it is a waste of life if you don't follow your worthy goal. But following your worthy goal, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be very difficult. It is not going to be like those pictures on Facebook where they say follow your passion or follow your dream. It is not going to be like that. But guess what? If that dream is important enough and if that dream rewards you in the end, this is all going to be worth it. So finally, I have to say that we have no idea if reincarnation is definitely true. It is possible that this is the only life that we have. So let us try and live life worth living. Thank you so much.
Are there any questions?